What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Q&A with Coach AK. This will be episode number 6. This is brought to you by Transform Health Initiative, which is my online health and fitness coaching program that I get to work with some amazing individuals and help them achieve their goal of a healthy lifestyle and a strong, healthy body and establishing healthy lifestyle habits. Every Friday, I post a question that I receive frequently that I would like to answer in a video form with a little bit more of a thorough answer to give more people access to this information, access to sound advice, and things that you can implement into your own training program, nutrition program, or lifestyle program. All right, all the information disclosed within this video and all previous videos is for educational purposes only. It is not meant to treat or diagnose any health conditions that should be under the care of your regular healthcare provider or medical doctor. So please, before you do anything else, like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this with somebody who may benefit from some good, sound health and fitness advice so we can help change the world one life at a time. Now, let's get to the question. All right, so on this week's question, episode number 6 of Q&A with Coach AK, the question is it necessary to strength train, aka resistance train, for fat loss, or can you just focus on cardio and diet alone? So now, as with every question I've answered so far, which is exactly why I pick specific questions, this is not just an easy yes or no question. This is a little bit more complex, and it's going to once again depend on the actual individual and their individual needs, because at the end of the day, calories in, calories out will always be king. It is what it is. People don't like it, but that's just the way our bodies work. The more that you consume over your output, the more weight you're going to gain. The less you consume under your output is going to lead to weight loss. Now, where this weight loss comes from is highly dependent on if you are consuming adequate protein and if you are on a progressive or at least somewhat progressive resistance training program. So gaining muscle, maintaining body weight, or even body recomposition. So we'll get into some of that here in a minute, but just know that although calories in, calorie out will always be king, there are some caveats that come with that depending on what else you're doing with a calorie deficit or surplus. So technically, yes, you can lose weight without strength training. However, there are some downsides such as muscle loss tissue, a slower metabolism, and other issues that could possibly be avoided if we actually incorporate strength training, i.e. resistance training, into your program. So the benefits of strength training stretch way beyond just mere fat loss, and it can impact all aspects of our physical health and well-being. So strength training, resistance training can be very beneficial for numerous reasons, and we're going to get into some of those here. So first, let me start by saying that this question is better answered by explaining some of the benefits of strength training just overall for overall health purposes, and then discussing some of the benefits of strength training when it relates to body fat loss in particular. So before I get into the fat loss particular information, let's talk about why strength training is beneficial just for overall health for all age groups, all people, all goals, whatever it may be. This is why I believe, a few reasons why I believe everybody should be strength training. So I'm only going to give 4 points, 4 health benefits of strength training, resistance training. And this is just the generalized idea of health benefits with strength training. So number 1 is increased muscle mass. So experts have coined a term. That term is muscle is the organ of longevity. So in numerous studies that we have, muscle mass directly correlates with a longer lifespan and a higher quality of life within those years. So no, you don't just live longer, but people with more muscle mass tend to live a healthier life. They tend to have more energy. They tend to have less injury. They tend to be more motivated to keep doing things later on in life. You know, they tend to keep their strength throughout their later years, and that just leads to a much higher quality of life overall when regular strength training is implemented into somebody's lifestyle. So we have a condition, a medical condition. It's called sarcopenia. This is basically just means age-related muscle loss. So it's kind of inevitable to a degree, sarcopenia. So strength training can reduce the effects of sarcopenia, which can help protect against many of the accidental injuries that we see that occur later on in life, from falls and trips and slips and loss of balance. We do know that sarcopenia, too, like I said, to a degree, is kind of inevitable, but it can be largely minimized or postponed through regular resistance training, especially via a well-designed progressive overload training program from a qualified expert in the field. Who may that be? Anyways, point number 2, the benefit of strength training just for overall health. Again, this is only 4 points. Point number 2, stronger bones. So, strength training can help improve and increase bone density, which can reduce the risk of bone fractures. So, another thing that we see is people specifically when people age, one thing that we commonly see is softer bones, more brittle bones. So people who have a fall when they're in their 20s, 30s, 40s, they have the same fall in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and instead of just having a big bruise on their hip, they break a hip and have to have a hip replacement. Many other reasons, many other examples of what happens whenever we have this scenario that goes on as we age with our bones becoming softer, less dense, more fragile. Strength training may also help protect against osteoporosis and other bone-related diseases. So all these things, again, can be avoided, even if you're genetically inclined to deal with these health conditions. They can highly be minimized or even completely avoided with regular strength training. So to me, point 1 and point 2 is already enough reason for you to be lifting some weight. But let's carry on. Number 3, joint flexibility. So resistance training, aka strength training, through the joint's full range of motion, important point, taking the joint through its full range of motion, may help improve joint flexibility and or mobility, same thing, which makes our joints more resilient to injury and reduce the symptoms of arthritis and other joint conditions. So again, these aging diseases that we tend to see, even young people deal with them, we see a lot of these can be minimized, mitigated, or completely avoided with regular, safe, structured strength training. And number 4, benefit of overall health for strength training. Psychological health, mental health. This one is highly underrated and overlooked, so I want to touch on this a little bit. So the psychological benefits of strength training. Studies show that strength training to have excuse me as I butcher this medical term word, so excuse me for all those that are smarter than I am when it comes to medical terminology. That's not my field. But this condition is called anxiolytic, to have an anxiolytic effect in humans, which basically what that means, if I'm completely butchering that word, is an anxiety reducing effect. So strength training has shown in studies to have an anxiety reducing effect, much similar to a lot of the anti-anxiety, anti-depression drugs that we see on the market that many people take today. Not against the drugs, but this may be a way for you to be able to work through some of the anxiety on a more natural, way yourself. Another point on the psychological health of strength training is endorphins that are released can help regulate mood. They can help increase our perceived happiness. So just that feeling of happiness, not joy, different thing, but just that feeling of being happy in life. And can even reduce overall aches and pains in the body. So, a lot of those things that we deal with, if we involve regular strength training, we're strengthening up the muscle, but also the joints, the connective tissue, everything that has to do with movement. So our movements are smoother, more crisp. You're lubricating the joints and, keeping everything healthier through training. So those are 4 points on overall health benefits of strength training. And again, there's probably hundreds that we can list. I just want to touch on 4 just for time's sake and to keep you guys from getting too bored. So, with that being said, now let's take a look at a few of the benefits resistance training may provide for fat loss in particular, because again, that's really the whole context of the question is based on a fat loss phase or a fat loss goal. So I put together I got 5 points this time, 5 benefits of strength training when it concerns fat loss or in regard to fat loss. So number 1, building muscle tissue helps improve body composition. That's your muscle mass versus your fat mass. So body composition, you have what we call lean body mass. This is everything that's outside of your fat mass. So your fat mass is how many pounds of body fat is in your body. Everything else is your lean mass. So a lot of people think lean mass just means muscle mass, but it just includes your muscle mass. But it's also your bones, skin, hair, water, glycogen within your muscles. Many different things are included into this lean mass that we talk about. So one, strength training can help improve the ratio of muscle tissue to fat tissue, which is good for all health purposes, but specifically, obviously, for fat loss. Number 2, strength training can help improve the overall look of the physique. So this kind of ties into point 1, but it goes into a little bit deeper than just body composition. So what this looks like for men who strength train regularly, this may be that stronger, tougher look, more broad shoulders, bigger arms, chest, back, legs, just that more full, strong look that most of us males desire. For women, regular strength training can provide that toned look that most think comes from losing body fat, but it actually comes from having more muscle, not just less body weight, or even necessarily just less body fat. If you increase your muscle tissue as a woman throughout your body, even if you don't change your body fat percentage much, it will change the way that your physique looks just by adding that muscle, and probably change it in ways that you desire it to be changed. So beneficial for men or women regardless. Point number 3 is strength training can help increase your resting metabolic rate. So what your resting metabolic rate is basically how many calories your body burns when you're doing little to nothing, or you're just your regular activities throughout the day, walking, sitting at work, eating, these different things like that. So you have your BMR, which is your basal metabolic rate. That's basically how many calories your body burns just to keep the lights on. So just to keep your heart pumping, your brain functioning, blood flowing through your veins and arteries, just your normal processes of keeping you alive outside of body movement, muscle movement. That is the BMR. So this can improve your RMR, or your resting metabolic rate, because we know that muscle tissue burns more calories than body fat. The more muscle mass means more calories burned at rest or throughout the day. So you can have 5 pounds of muscle is going to burn more calories to sustain that muscle and keep that muscle than 5 pounds of body fat. So the more muscle that you build, the more your body is burning body fat throughout the day, or at least burning through calories throughout the day. So depending on your nutrition will determine if that's, if you're actually losing body fat or not. But you have a much higher odds of losing body fat with less intense calorie deficit or less cardio and activity, just based on the fact that your body burns more calories with this added muscle mass. Now, this doesn't mean that all you got to do is build muscle and fat's just going to disappear. That's not the way it works. Again, calories in, calories out is king. But this can help you to increase your rate of loss with less effort, or less depriving yourself, because that extra muscle mass is burning extra calories to keep that muscle tissue. Point number 4, strength training can increase your overall calorie expenditure. So we tend to burn more calories through moderate to intense resistance training, strength training, which aids in our overall daily calorie deficit. So, for example, life without strength training, maybe you do 30 minutes of cardio a day, or maybe you're just tracking your step count, which is what I usually recommend for clients. But whatever your activity levels are, say you're at that. Well, now you add an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, 45 minutes, however long that you can fit into your schedule and recover from. You add that into your program. Now you're burning even more calories throughout your day than you would have been burning if you weren't doing that strength training. So just based on the calories burnt from strength training itself in the moment, obviously is going to aid to burning more calories throughout the day, which is going to help you be in a deeper deficit without having to cut more food. So really helpful when it comes to losing body fat and not feeling like you're starving the whole time. All right. Point number 5, psychological benefits, once again, that we mentioned earlier, or the mental health aspects that we mentioned earlier. So again, the anxiety reducing effect that strength training has, along with the endorphin release, can help, it can help mitigate or it can help reduce your acute stress levels and depression symptoms, which over time may help reduce chronic stress and fatigue, which both have a very large impact on successful weight loss or successful fat loss. So chronic stress and fatigue, we know, can cause the body to start down regulating calorie burning, to basically trying to regulate the stress and fatigue. It can also lead to a higher appetite, to eating, binge eating, emotional eating. If you deal with that, it can affect your sleep, which we know for a fact that how big sleep is when it comes to not only building muscle but also losing body fat. If your sleep is terrible, most likely, even if you are losing weight, I can't remember what the statistics are on a lot of the studies, but basically the majority of the weight that you're losing is actually coming from muscle tissue rather than body fat tissue, which is never should be what we want. That's never a good situation. So reducing that acute stress and those depression symptoms through training, through this basically medicinal effect that training has, that strength training, resistance training has, can help you in the long run to manage chronic stress and fatigue and these different things that can get in the way of your fat loss objective or goal. So that's the 5 points that I have. One more point to kind of add on to that is that strength training can actually help increase your sleep quality just by helping you get into a deeper sleep, helping regulate your sleep, which again plays a huge role into being able to lose weight, and also that weight coming from the tissue that you want to lose, which is body fat. Again, never a good idea to lose muscle tissue unless you just over muscled, which is just like 0.0001% of the population, in which case I'm probably not talking to you. But even if I am, even if your goal is to lose muscle because you want to downsize, all this still will come into play. So to conclude answering this question of, do you need to strength train in order to lose fat, or can you just depend on cardio and diet, nutrition alone? In strength and resistance training, is it a requirement? Is it a requirement for fat loss? The answer is no. However, for all of the said benefits stated in this video previous to this, I highly recommend strength training and resistance training for all people of all ages, from as young as is interested to as old as possibly can physically. We know now through studies that what we thought was not good for youth is actually not true. So whatever age you're interested in, you can keep good technique, it's a great idea to add in some quality strength training, regardless of what your goal is, but especially if fat loss specifically is your goal. There are way more than just 5 benefits to adding in strength training outside of just fat loss. Or for fat loss, there's other benefits how it helps with fat loss. But again, for time's sake, I will keep it a little bit shorter. So if you have any other, if you know of any other benefits, if you know of any other advantages to adding strength training in with fat loss, or if you feel that I missed something, or if you feel like I'm wrong on something, please comment. Drop a comment below in the comment section. And let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. That's what this is about. It's not just about me getting on here and talking and blabbering, even though I'm pretty good at that. This is about creating dialogue, creating conversation, creating community in which we can discuss these things and come to a better understanding for all of us, because everybody wins when the world is a healthier place. Nobody loses, other than, maybe some companies that make a lot of money off of obesity, or obesity-related diseases, but there's also other things that they can get into if that market is not there. So again, it really benefits everybody to have a healthier world. So, as I mentioned before, please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel. Please share those within your reach so we can transform their health through sound information. And again, if anybody's looking for a coach or looking for advice or looking for direction when it comes to your plan, I do work with people on one-offs when it comes to nutrition or even fitness coaching. So we break down your diet, we break down your training, we look into what you could be doing, what would benefit you in the future, help you develop sort of a game plan for yourself, and then you run off with it. Or I do month-to-month coaching where I literally control all aspects. I guide you through all parts of your plan. So all you have to do is show up each day, check off the boxes, and reap your rewards. So whatever you guys need, whatever you want, whatever you're interested in, please reach out to me at coachadamkelly@gmail.com. Exciting news. We'll be launching a website here, hopefully within the next week or two, along with a new email that's tied to that website, hopefully within the next week or two. So you guys be on the lookout for that. Super excited to have a landing place for people who are interested. I know a lot of people have asked me about if I have a website, if I have a way to sign up for the free consultation that I offer. By the way, 1 hour free consultation for all people, no strings attached. Whether if you sign up or not, you have the ability to have a free up to 60-minute online consultation to help you decide if coaching is right for you, if my systems of coaching are right for you, or if you're better off just asking a few questions, getting some direction, and then taking it over for yourself. So if you guys need that, please let me know. In the meantime, in between time, I love you guys. Have a very blessed weekend, safe weekend. Do something today and tomorrow and the next day to better your health and watch it pay off in the long run. So, Coach AK, Q&A with Coach AK. I'm out. Brought to you by Transform Health Initiative. We will see you next week. Love, peace, and chicken grease.